Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Soren Review. And today we're going to be reviewing the very exciting Geico 500. What a race it was! It was such a fun race for the 10th race of the season, an absolute thriller. And we're going to review it here today. Talk about top finishers, talk about moments throughout the race, talk about the winner, and any other things that will come up. First off, best race of the season, or at least one of the best races of the season. It was absolutely phenomenal. In my opinion, it was exactly what every Talladega race could have. It had green flag pit stops. It had a close finish. It had a few wrecks, but nothing crazy. It wasn't too long. We didn't have any overtime finishes. We had a great winner, just a lot of drama. It was just an absolutely great race. And in the end, it was Ross Chastain for Trackhouse Racing. He gets it done. Second win of the season. I want to mention this. Ross Chastain at one point was one lap down. I remember the pack tried to avoid him and Michael McDowell as they were trying to lap him. But Ross Chastain was a lap down, and he comes back to win. A lot of cars one lap down trying to recover. And we'll talk more about that as I go over the finishing results. But just it was a phenomenal race. Ross Chastain beats Eric Jones and Kyle Larson to the line. Of course, you'll see Jones finish sixth and Larson finish fourth, but really towards the end, the last stage was really dominated by a few drivers, Kyle Larson and Eric Jones. Eric Jones in the recent years has really established himself as a dominant plate super speedway racer. He dominated this race last year in the spring. Definitely one of the fastest cars. Couldn't get it done, and unfortunately couldn't get it done. He was leading into the tri-oval, but he just got too far out there, and he got passed by Kyle Larson, and soon got swallowed up in the middle. Ended up finishing sixth, so a good recovery for Eric Jones, but just ever so close. Ross Chastain, though, is able to win. He stays on the bottom of the racetrack, and he is able to sneak by all the cars blocking, and he's able to get his second career win, second win of the season, his sixth top five of the season. We are only 10 races in, and Ross Chastain has six top fives. That is such a great run. He is ninth in points, regular season points. Uh, that's mainly due to when he's not in the top five, four very poor runs. But Ross Chastain has just been on fire, and I think today really established him as a championship contender. I know it's Talladega, but to be in position at every single type of track in the top five, I think today really established Ross Chastain as a top five contender for the championship. He is going to be a threat to win here on out. Ross Chastain is fast, and it's going to be absolutely fun to see. Let's go over the finishing results. And we'll talk about what happened throughout the race as we talk about the results. First, let's look at that top 10. Ross Chastain wins. Great run for him. Austin Dillon grabs a nice second place finish. Wasn't a factor too much today. Top 15 for most of the run. He worked his way up. Third top five of the season for him. He's now in the playoff top 16. Kyle Busch was snuck by one of the crashes. Again, Toyota's were kind of on and off today. Lots of Toyotas running up front, a few with problems. It was really the Fords, though, and you'll see only two Fords in the top 10. Ford really struggled. They didn't qualify well. They had hardly any cars. At one point, I think towards the end, they had like five top Fords in the entire top 20. So Ford really struggled. Just never really, the closest they had to contention was Ryan Blaney, and he didn't finish top 10. He finished 11th. Was there racing up towards the end. Just Ford was not very good today. Kyle Busch though sneaks into the top five. Kyle Larson, best race we have ever seen him. He was great. Again, leading towards the end, went up to um, block and ended up putting Kurt Busch into the wall. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. Martin Truex Jr., another Toyota, very fast, top five for him. Eric Jones covers for a nice sixth place finish. Michael McDowell, I want to mention him. He gets his third top 10 of the season. Elliott, Bowman, Harvick, they were up front. Bowman actually finishing ninth is a bit surprising. He was up in the top five, top 10, but he was really the, I would say, worst Hendrick car, but he was still top 15 for most of the day. He recovers to get a nice ninth place finish. You can see, though, the huge list of DNFs. Before we get to those DNFs, I want to mention a few guys that weren't in the top 10 but did in DNF. William Byron comes home to finish 15th. He was top five up there towards the end, and then he got squeezed up into the wall. He finishes 15th. Corey LaJoy was about to finish in the top 10, and he got spun off the bumper of Michael McDowell, who went below the WL line. I don't know if they'll penalize McDowell for that, but Corey LaJoy finishes 14th. Kurt Busch and Bubba Wallace finished 16th and 17th. They were both top 10, both had great runs going, and Kyle Larson put Kurt Busch up into the wall. And then Kurt Busch came back down and clipped Bubba, and around went Bubba into the wall. Not great runs. Denny Hamlin actually, ironically, finishes right behind his two cars in 18th. Noah Gragson also grabs the top 20, his best career run. But you see all those DNFs. We had a few mechanical issues. Tyler Reddick, Greg Biffle, and Daniel Hemrick, all ECR engines. It was a bit of a concern towards the beginning or towards the first half of the race. Something with a timing belt for, I think, Reddick, probably for Hemrick. I know Greg Biffle is a fuel pump, so not really engine related, but they had fuel pump issues at Daytona, so obviously a issue with those New York racing cars. Uh, Actually, Daniel Hemrick, though, he had an engine go down right in front of the pack, and then he got spun by Austin Dillon because of that, and that ended up having a hard hit with Chase Briscoe and Chris Buescher, which took out both Buescher and Briscoe. Actually, Briscoe's damage was probably the worst I've ever seen a next gen car get killed. So just unfortunate. Um, we had another crash around lap 90, I believe, on one of the restarts after someone spun or something. I don't. We had a restart for one of the cautions, and Joey Logano got stacked up by Eric Jones and Truex in front of him, and Logano kind of got bumped by Bubba Wallace behind him, and around went Logano, and he went up into the wall and came back down and took out a plethora of cars: Ty Dillon, Harrison Burton, Daniel Suarez, Ricky Stenhouse, and Cole Custer, all out of the race. Austin Cindric also gained serious damage in that collision. Um, that was about it for big ones, I would say. Todd Gillen also got damaged, I believe, in that. BJ McLeod and Cody Ware both had spins that brought out some cautions as well. Plus, a lot of cars speeding. Brad Keselowski sped early in the race, recovered, sped again in the final green flag pit stops. He finishes one lap down in 23rd. Same thing for Christopher Bell. Or not Christopher Bell, my mistakes. Christopher Bell actually was in the lead draft. He was right next to Kyle Busch, probably on track for a top 10. And coming off pit road, Kyle Busch obviously didn't know he was there. He went to the left to get off Noah Gragson's side and spun Christopher Bell, and no caution came out. So he finishes 22nd. And Austin Cindric, 21st, the last car on the lead lap. He had damage from one of the incidents. So 6 cautions, 41 lead changes. It was just a really solid race. Not too many cautions, right? 6 cautions only. I would say the racing was really solid. We had a lot of side by side racing, and it wasn't too bad. We saw some pushing. We also saw this bubble air forming like I had expected, kind of like how we had seen at Atlanta. It was just a solid race. I'm really surprised how this next gen car races in super speedways. I was really worried with the rear diffuser, but it really has changed my opinion on and how I view this next gen car at the plate tracks. I'm very excited for Daytona and Talladega later on this year. Ross Chastain, he is just doing so good. Just an overall great race. My rating is a 9.8 out of 10. I don't think I can give it a 10 out of 10 because it just wasn't that top tier. Giving it a 10 out of 10 is very unlikely. So 9.8 out of 10, just an overall fantastic race. Um, just really, really good. But that's going to do it for this video. Remember, you can use code Soren72 to get free shipping on all orders $30 or more. It has changed due to rising costs and diecast prices. However, this is the best I could get it down to. So remember, you can use code Soren72 on all orders $30 or more when you use the code Soren72 at checkout at Circle B Diecast. That's code Soren72. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Review Soren. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and goodbye.